Hey everyone, it's Amber from the Sensible Mama. Today is going to be another stay in and chat with me video. If you're still going out, stop it. Please stay inside. I know that might seem weird coming from me sitting here in my warehouse. This is the only place that I go anymore, and this is a place that has been cut off from society for over 2.5 weeks. I feel safer here than I do in my own home in some ways. But anyway, I thought that today might be a fun time to give you guys the story of kind of why I started LYMIA brand, how it got started, just the tea. I don't know, there's no tea to be had. I am drinking my coffee though, which is needed. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Today's story is going to be how I started LYMIA brand. So why don't I just go ahead and get into it. I started the Sensible Mama 4 years ago. I had just had my son Roman. I had quit my corporate job and had decided to be a stay-at-home mom. But already I was starting to tell that not working was going to be challenging for me, and I wanted to find an outlet, a creative outlet for myself. I actually will link up in the cards my story of how the Sensible Mama got started. If you want to go see that, I would tell you maybe pause this video and go watch that and then come back to this one, because that has all the details of how I started the Sensible Mama. So fast forward to 3 years after I started the Sensible Mama, and things had grown a lot more rapidly than I was planning. As I said in that first video about how I started the Sensible Mama, I was kind of seeing it as just like a side hustle, a hobby jobby, like something that I could just do kind of to make a little extra money and have fun and get my jujube at a discounted price. But I just loved what I was doing so much, and I loved the community that we had formed, and that passion just kept reinvesting itself to where the business just grew really fast, and I was so happy and excited about it, but also a little bit overwhelmed. So there came a point in time when I said, I just can't do this alone anymore. I need to hire someone to help me. So I hired Carol, who a lot of you guys have probably interacted with before, and she was amazing. She came to my home every single day. She shipped all the orders. She was helping with customer service. She was doing some admin stuff for my YouTube channel, just being there when I needed someone the most. She used to run a daycare herself, so she loved children. She was great with my kids. They loved her. They looked forward to seeing her all the time. And when my family went through a very dark time together, when we lost my mother-in-law, it was Carol who stepped in and was there watching the children while we had the memorial service and all these things. She just was like family. Things were rocking and rolling. I was feeling really good. And I made this decision to do some things behind the scenes, investing money into more of a marketing kind of thing, and a different style of marketing than I had been doing. That was a huge expense for the business. It was definitely rolling the dice with my money because I wasn't sure if it was going to work. And thankfully it did. It paid off in a really cool way, and then the business got slammed. So I was thinking, okay, this is fine. This money that I'm investing into these activities, it's working, it's doing its job, so it's worth it. Paying Carol is worth it. I gave her a raise because she was working a lot more, and things were going really, really well. However, I knew that Carol had some personal things going on with her health and a few other things that she was giving me lots of warning, giving me all the warning signs that I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to do this job. And I was trying to be sensitive to that, but I think looking back, I was also trying to put it out of my head because I just thought, I can't imagine bringing someone else in to do this now. There's such an intimacy when someone is working in your home and being with your children every day. And she, we went into the trenches together. I couldn't imagine losing her. So I think I was just completely putting that out of my head. But the day did come where Carol told me that she had to quit. And unfortunately, because of her health and a few other things she had going on, she couldn't even really give me 2 weeks. She just had to be done. And that was tough. I just ultimately, there were a lot of things behind the scenes, but it just couldn't have been a worse time for this to happen. So I said, all right, I laced up my bootstraps and I said, I did this alone before, I can do it alone again. And I just started rocking and rolling. But unfortunately, summer hit. Now I know the timeline is right because it was just a few weeks after that summer hit and my kids were no longer in preschool. So I lost a significant amount of time that I used to be able to count on to work. And that was when my head went to a really dark place. And I'm not really sure if you guys were able to tell or not. There were a couple of lives that I did in my Facebook group where I kind of lost it and I cried a little bit, just because of all of the tension and the stress and the worry that I had. But I was trying really hard to keep it together. But that summer was probably one of the toughest ones of my life. I had lost Carol, the business had really been growing, we had this vacation planned that was coming up for that summer, and one of the things that Carol was going to be doing was running the business while I was gone. She was going to ship all the orders, maintain our Instagram, like do all those things, and now I learned like, okay, so I'm not going to have anyone to keep this company running while I'm gone. I cannot run the company from vacation. I'm going to have to shut my business down, and I don't really know that sucks. This isn't an Etsy shop. This is an international website. We ship all over the world. How do you just say like, we're closed? So what I ended up deciding to do, and you guys may remember, is I did like a vacation sale. I said I'm shutting down the store, but I'm putting like basically the entire website 20% off. Just know that everything that you purchase during the sale will not ship until this date, which was the day that I was getting back from my vacation. And it was amazing. Like it was such a win-win. I was so proud of this idea because I was like, I gave my customers something, you know, that made them feel good. Like they got to save some money. They also were consenting to the fact that it would not be our typical fast shipping. I could feel like my business was still growing and making money even while I was gone and not nurturing it. And it all felt great. And so it was entering my vacation where things started to turn for me. I had been, and you could, like, I just sat up in my chair. Like, I visibly, this shift, like this vacation, it marked a shift for me in my mental health and just my overall well-being. And you can see now as I switch from talking about that kind of dark time into this, like, immediately I feel better. So we go on this vacation. I'm feeling really good. I'm seeing the business not stagnating at all like I thought it might, just really doing amazingly. And with this newfound sense of like, things are going to be okay, I started thinking more like a CEO and less like just the person who ships the orders. And I thought, what is something that is needed? What is something that I don't feel anyone is doing in the marketplace right now, in the baby industry? And the thing that I just kept coming back to for some reason was this feeling that I'd always had since before I even started my business. This was back when I had first found Jujube. And I remember this sinking feeling when I got so deeply entrenched in the diaper bag world and doing the packing videos and constantly posting in all of the diaper bag groups and finding my community there, making friends and family there. I just remember 4 years ago being like, what am I gonna do when I don't have any babies anymore? How am I gonna naturally still fit in with this community of people who are pregnant or have little ones, or they're diapering and they're baby wearing and all these things, and I won't be doing that anymore? And it was I could cry thinking about it. It was a really hard thing to think about because I thought, like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel like I'm a part of this anymore. And it's become my identity. It's become who I am. I don't know who I'll be when this is over, you know? And so I just thought there has to be a way to make those moms who are transitioning out of the community or feel like that's coming to feel a part of it again, to feel like they still get to be in it, to feel like, okay, I'm in a new phase of life, but I'm still here. I'm still relevant to this group. And looking at my diaper bag stash, I just kind of realized, like, yes, there are some beautiful, sophisticated looking bags that a lot of people end up using as they transition into like going back to work or just going back to living their daily lives where they're not so involved with their kids every day. But there wasn't really anything out there that I just felt was like, I would rock this as my work bag. I would rock this as my travel bag, and nobody would think it was a diaper bag. Just really feels like a sophisticated work bag for when I'm ready to not be carrying all the diapers all the time. I figured because of my unique position as the sensible mama, as someone who is known for being a baby business, I could bridge the gap between these young moms or new moms and the moms who are sort of aging out, whose kids are aging out, and I could be the one who says there is a home for everybody here. There's a community for everybody here. And that idea excited me so much. And so while I was there on that vacation, like sitting outside by the beach, just drawing out designs, reaching out to factories. I had no idea what I was doing, but reaching out to factories, asking them if they could try my designs. And I got samples in production that week. I was so excited. I knew that no matter what, I had done something that a huge swatch of people, a huge community of women were going to resonate with for the very reasons that I just laid out, and I was happy. I just knew like this was going to be such a way to show up on the scene as like, I'm gonna be the person who's gonna give you that bag that really will age well, will transition well for you. I was just so excited. Have I said that enough? I think so. I got home, and of course the first thing that happened was I pull all of the orders that had come in while I was on vacation, and I immediately like plunged back into a dark space because it took me almost a full week of staying up until 2 or 3 in the morning shipping those orders, getting up at 5 a.m. with my kids, getting them like ready all morning, getting them down for like maybe an hour or 2 long nap, hustling, doing as much shipping as I could during that time, spending the whole day with my kids, getting them down to bed, and then back to shipping until 2 or 3 a.m. And that was a week straight of that. But even though I was feeling mildly depressed, mostly because of the exhaustion, I had this newfound vision of just like, this is gonna be a whole new element. So there's the Sensible Mama, which is all about loving on moms and babies and just being there to walk side by side with you in those tough, lonely, I'm gonna cry again, those hard days and nights. And that's what the Sensible Mama is just we are here because we get it and we still know what it's like with those little kids and the hardships and the joys and everything. Like just the Sensible Mama represents that. I saw that so clearly. And then LYMIA brand was gonna be this amazing opportunity to represent the moms who are kind of ready to go back to life sort of what it was like before they became moms. Of course, life will never be the same again, and I mean that in the very best way possible, but ready to go back to work or ready to start socializing a little more, ready to go on dates, ready to focus on, maybe your emotional well-being or your physical health, just stepping back into that role of like who you were before you were just mom, if that makes sense. And I felt so fulfilled and happy knowing that we were just gonna be moving forward in this new, I'm getting goosebumps, moving forward in this new way where every mom has a home. And it just got me so excited. As we got closer to the launch date, things started getting scary. There was all this fear of like, what if it's a flop? What if I misjudged? What if people don't love it the way that I think they're going to? What if I've made a big mistake? I've now invested thousands and thousands and so much money into all of this, and it could ruin me if this was a bad decision. But I just kind of knew like I have to believe in myself enough to know that like it's worth a shot. So it was scary for a little while because, I was the only person on this planet who had seen these bags, who knew what they looked like, could see the quality, had touched it. The only thing that existed out there at this time was a grainy live video that I did on Facebook. And the response had been really overwhelming. But then again, there were certain avenues where I saw criticism coming out and people saying things about it, which blew my mind because I was like, but you haven't even seen it yet. Like you haven't even seen the final version of the bag. Like what? And that was so hard to go through, just feeling like, man, some of these people are like really just criticizing my brand before it's even had a chance, before it's even had its moment. And there's nobody out there besides me who's even seen them who can defend it. Like, and of course I'm not going to, like, I'm not going to get all up in there. And it was hard. It was scary. It was like, you got to have faith in those times. So we had the launch. We had hundreds of bags to sell. A lot of them had pre-sold, but thankfully we had cut off the pre-sale early so that we knew we had some for launch day. And these bags sold out in under 2 hours, under 3 hours, something like that, 2 or 3 hours, which was mind-blowing and certainly felt good after all of the heartache and worry and anxiety that I had had. It was amazing. And so now we're back in production. We've got the coin purses and the wallets coming back by mid-spring. We've got the Boss Up Charlie tote coming in the next couple of weeks. We'll have the full line back in stock around in fall. So it's everything I could have imagined. I'm so thankful that I took this risk. I'm so thankful that I invested and believed in myself and believed in what this could mean and what it could stand for and that it could make a difference. And the reason why I want to tell this story now, the reason why I think that this is timely, is I think a lot of us right now, because of coronavirus, because of social distancing and quarantine and isolation and all of these things, I think a lot of us may be headed for a dark place, mentally and emotionally, if we're not already there. And so I guess it's easy in these circumstances to just get kind of myopic, to only be able to see what's right in front of your face and to feel like despair, to just feel despair. And what I wanted to share with you guys today is that probably one of the most fulfilling and exciting things that has ever happened to me, aside from getting married and becoming a mom, has been launching LYMIA brand. And LYMIA brand exists today because I was going through one of the hardest things I'd ever been through. Beautiful things can come out of hard times. Like a phoenix out of the ashes, it can happen. And what I hope that you'll do is you'll use this time while you're stuck at home, while you're not seeing your loved ones as much, that you will think about like what inspires you, what is something that you could do that would be life-changing to yourself and to others. You don't have to change the world, you just have to change somebody. You just have to do something that impacts someone else in a positive way, and you've done something amazing. And now, what better time than now? What better time than now to start thinking about something that you can do to leave your mark? I talk to women every day. Probably the most emails and DMs and PMs that I get are from people who are like, I want to do something like what you're doing, but I don't know where to start. I don't even know if I can. I don't even know what my idea is. Now is the time to pursue that. So whatever it is, that little spark of an idea that you have, start thinking about it and invest in yourself. Do it because you're worth it, but also do it because just now is a good time. And please know that just because it's hard right now doesn't mean it's always going to be. And with that said, I guess I'm all done with this video. Love ya, mean it always, mwah! And I'll see you in the next one.